Hello and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon North American Open. We have the draft already underway. These teams kind of forgot about us. That's all right. We're gonna hop over to that. Anna, I think
Yeah,
you are okay.
no one thinks about the casters, Gilly. No one thinks about it.
It's okay.
It's
It's
all
all
right.
right.
We'll still watch the game and be really excited. So
Yes.
far, with Soul and the Shiners have banned Tyrande and Zeratul. They've picked Zagara, Uther, Vala, and Muradin. So actually stealing some key players from that last game from Turmoil Syndicate, who've answered by banning Kael'thas and Falstad. They've got Jaina, so she switched sides as well, and Anub'arak and Rhaegar.
Yeah, I think Sol have done a great job so far in this draft by grabbing the Uther and Vala. They've also banned out Tyrande on top of that, seeing that Turmoil did have the Anub'arak there already. So Nazeebo's still going to be picked up. I said this before, and I'll say it again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Tassadar, because now we're on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Vision is very important in this battleground, and Soul and the Shiners have that Zagara. She's going to be able to spread creep all across the turn-in points, and without a way to really effectively clear up that creep, they're going to have difficulty turning in as long as Soul and the Shiners are really on top of going in and contesting those turn-ins whenever they see Turmoil going in those zones.
That's absolutely true. And I think that from my point of view, one of the best things about Turmoil Syndicate's play last game was their ability to utilize their dual supports, which were Uther and Tyrande. So really smart of Soul and the Shiners to be like, nope, those are ours now. Turmoil Syndicate not going to take your advice, Gilly. They're not going to grab Tassadar. Instead, they're going to go with Raynor.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Raynor.
Yep. They did that thing that we just said.
All right, well, I'm already like Hyperion or Raynor's Raiders. That's always the first question whenever I see Raynor, which is like once every 5 months. So I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering if they'll go with Hyperion so that they can kind of zone everyone out and then from there really push underneath it, which is what we see a lot of like push heavy compositions or push focused at least compositions do. But Turmoil, generally, we didn't see them over pushing or pushing super hard, right? They only really did when they picked up the curse last game or when they had the boss. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with that Raynor. They do have Tassadar being picked up on the side of Soul and the Shiners, so they are going to have fantastic vision in this battleground, and they'll also get more shields, so they're going to be really sustainable this time, like we saw on the last game with the healer, and then sort of that half Sapassin, or I can't remember what Kai calls it. It's the opposite. It's a Sassaport. That's what it is.
A SAS support. Well, we'll see. I mean, we are two sides of the same red-headed coin, Kai Berries and I, so it makes sense that we would just flip the word around.
It's true.
But looking at these teams, Turmoil Syndicate, like you mentioned, is not going to have that dual support this time. Instead, they've got a lot heftier damage. And I'm wondering if they're feeling pretty good coming off the back of that last game with how aggressive they were able to be and how dominant they were in terms of experience. Although when I say dominant, they weren't really that many levels ahead most of the time. They were just always ahead. So I'm wondering if they're feeling like they can kind of take advantage of the fact that they feel like they've been more aggressively successful and add to that aggression with some more damage. But we'll see how they play, because we did see them getting very low in a lot of team engagements and being able to heal themselves out of it or escape out of it. And we'll see if they're still able to do that with these three damage dealers, Raynor, Nazeebo, and Jaina, only supported by Rhaegar.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to note is that Raynor is very self-sustaining. So they at least have that, as he does have that adrenaline rush as one of his abilities. It provides healing for him. Also, if we see Anub'arak once again go for the Beetle build, that's pretty sustaining as well. So they do at least have heroes that can kind of focus on self-sustain a little bit. That's funny. Apparently, you and I are going to be playing on Soul and the Shiners. That's
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. I did want to let you know, too, that the teams have swapped colors on us, so it might be a little bit jarring, but stick with us, guys. We will do our best with that.
Well, you know how stores have secret shoppers where you send them in and they're supposed to like have some sort of problem that the customer service associate's supposed to help them with, and then they get graded on it?
Yeah.
I think that's what Soul and the Shiners is. They're a secret shopper team testing us as casters. They're like, we're going to have a difficult name to say, and then we're going to switch sides on them and be a different color, and we're going to see how they can handle it. So we shall prevail, Soul and the Shiners. We will get an excellent rating from you, and we appreciate you being here.
Yes, we do, definitely. We appreciate you guys watching as well. Apparently my mic was a little bit low. So hopefully we've got all of that taken care of, but please do let us know if there are issues with that. I'm really excited to see Raynor in a game, Anna. That's not very often that we get to see. We've already been blessed with Nazebo.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah.
To get to see these heroes that are not so often played.
Yeah, it's really fun. I haven't, like I mentioned, I have not casted Nazebo in quite some time, and certainly Raynor is in the same league as he is that way. And I like seeing new damage-dealing faces after, I mean, we've been casting so long where it's like, just who's going to get Jaina, Kael'thas, and Vala, and maybe Sylvanas? Who's going to grab those guys, you know? And seeing these faces of new heroes means that, for me, of course, we are in a little bit of a post-patch period where people are going to be trying new things, but it does mean that diversity of heroes may have been bumped up by this last patch, which is great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I love the PPP, the post-patch period that you mentioned. I'm wondering, so one thing I'm questioning is the synergy between Raynor and Nazebo. If you penetrating around somebody who is stuck in the zombie wall, does it knock them out of the zombie wall?
I don't think so, but I am not sure.
Or does it knock them just up against the zombies? Because that would be funny.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of enjoying that mental image, just kind of knocking someone around inside this wall of angry zombies.
I know, right? But also the like anti-synergy. I like teams that have the possibility of anti-synergy, and then seeing them like work around that, because I think it, you know, takes a lot more skill, obviously, to make sure that you are in fact not just hurting each other's abilities. Like when we used to see a lot of Diablo, and you'd just see him like shadow charging people out of Jaina's Blizzard, and then it's like, well, thank you so much.
I never ever did that, ever.
Never, ever?
As a Diablo player, ever.
You might be the world's greatest Diablo player, Anna.
Back in my day, back in the shining golden days of Diablo and the Lord of Terror, we danced, Gilly, we danced.
Well, it is something that I always like to see is teams that have got really practiced compositions who, even though there's the possibility for that anti-synergy, they make it work, and they make it work well. But we are hopping into this game, guys. We are 1-0 in favor of Turmoil Syndicate, so if they win this one, we will be moving on to the next round. So let's go ahead and introduce these teams. In the blue is Turmoil Syndicate with Tantro playing Anubarak once again. We also have Trut on Nazebo, Oddish playing Raynor, Coda on Jaina, and Real Beef playing Rhaegar.
Not fake beef.
No.
But real beef.
The real thing.
The real thing. Well, I'm a vegetarian, but I can still respect that. And on the other side, in red this time, we've got Soul and the Shiners. Soul Shiner himself is going to be playing Vala. Commander KJK will be on Murden. F. Diddy will play Zagara. Starkey on Uther. And Hurrywind on Tastar.
We are on the Tomb of the Spider Queen. If you guys are unfamiliar with this battleground, there are two turn-in places, one in the, well, they're both in the mid, but between the two lanes. And these are where you'll be turning in gems. If you can turn in enough gems, which are picked up by taking out some minions that will spawn, then you will be granted favor with the Spider Queen. She will spawn her web weavers, and they will push in all three lanes.
We'll see a lot of this kind of thing happening that just happened here with Soul and the Shiners, hanging out in this smoky, great area right above the turn-in, waiting, lying in wait to trap their opponents, and a lot of fighting around that area because vision is so limited around the turn-in points that teams will have a hard time knowing exactly where their opponents are on the map as they collect these gems and try to turn them in.
Yeah, this is a battleground with a lot of rotations. All the lanes are very close together, and you'll often see teams rotating around through those turn-in areas, trying to pick up maybe a surprise takedown on members, especially teams that have a lot of stuns, which both teams really do. So we may see a lot of rotations coming out from both. Right now it seems like both teams are pretty content to just lane, though, and we might see those rotations go on a little bit later as we get teams getting closer and closer to that first turn-in.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about maybe some of the applicability of Raynor here with his heroic abilities that take up a lot of space and do a lot of damage. This map is so small, and there are not a whole lot of places to run from big abilities, so that may be an advantage to them when they get to that heroic level 10.
Yeah, that's definitely true. As for his talent now, he did pick up Seasoned Marksman, so he's really going to be going for that auto attack damage build that we see when we see Raynor. From that does mean again that he will be picking up those stacks just like we saw on Tyrande as well, so it'll be really key in making sure that he's around those minion deaths as they do grant him stacks for that.
Both teams have managed to pick up just a few gems on either side. They're managing to turn in as well, kind of trading off here at the top turn-in point. They do need 50 gems for their first turn-in, and that price will increase as the game goes on. So far, 15 turned in on the side of Soul and the Shiners, but Turmoil Syndicate is holding quite a few, and Soul and the Shiners are holding quite a few. So certainly both teams managing to collect and turn in gems at this point. We'll see which one manages to do it sooner.
Zagara has been laying a lot of creep tumors, which has been granting a lot of great vision for them, as well as I like how they've got her in mid so that she can put the skip vision of the top turn-in, and then they've got Tassadar on bottom who can use his Oracle and be able to see what's happening at the bottom turn-in. One thing to note is that we have seen Turmoil Syndicate, though, doing a really good job of trying to clean up that creep. That will get more difficult, though, at level 7 when we do see, if we see FDD pick up that endless creep talent.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised to see a build focused on creep on this map because, like you said, vision is so important, and also it allows FDD to move around even faster in a lot of cases on this map, and that's going to be a huge advantage when trying to roam between these two turn-in points as he's doing right now.
Looking at some more talents, we have Reinforced Structure from Tassadar, not one we often see except maybe on like Haunted Mines, but it means that the Plasma Shield is going to be stronger and last longer when cast on structures. So he's going to be really focused on defending structures and keeping them alive when those web weavers do inevitably spawn against their structures.
Absolutely. Right now we do have some more gems being turned in by Starkey, but it's very even. 21 gems turned in for Turmoil Syndicate, 24 turned in for Soul and the Shiners. Once they do get those turned in, the web weavers are going to spawn in these lanes at the level where the lane is pushed. So both teams also, you'll see, are very concerned with making sure that their lanes are kept at least at the middle, if not a little bit further, because once that does happen, they want their web weavers to have as much of an advantage moving forward in the lane as possible.
Yep, they will want to try to keep lanes pushed as well, just so that they can keep up with their rotations too. So that'll be something that we'll see them continually do in moving around. We are starting to see a lot more of those rotations as each team realizes that they're getting pretty close to the turn-in. However, the first turn-in will go to Turmoil Syndicate.
And this is reminiscent of our last game, Gilly, where they got the first tribute, the first curse. They really are focused on these battleground objectives, and so far it's been serving them very well.
Yeah, it really has been, and I really love Real Beef, who has consistently been throwing his lightning shield on himself and then using that to find the creep tumors and then exactly like that take out the creep tumors, and he's been keeping it back. And we actually don't have endless creep for Zagara. She went with rapid incubation, which is going to mean that she will still be able to provide vision. The creep won't spread quite as effectively, though. It won't spread as easily by itself, but she will have a lot of sustainability in the game, which is going to be nice for them, as the last game they were running into very long, drawn-out fights.
Absolutely. Commander KJK getting caught out and eventually stunned and damaged to death will fall and be taken down by Turmoil Syndicate. They are going to push against this top lane alongside their web weaver. In the meantime, there's a web weaver also in the bottom lane that does get taken down before doing too much damage. But it looks like that top wall will not be so lucky.
Yeah, a lot of times with that first web weaver spawn, you're really just trying to take down as many towers as you can, get ahead in experience in the early game, and then from there you can kind of capitalize on that. But they really only got a couple of towers from that. So Soul and the Shiners doing Shiners doing a really good job of defending so far, and they're going to try to get a turn-in of their own, but they're going to have to move back as Turmoil Syndicate are aware of this tried turn-in.
Hurrywind has 31 gems on his person and does get chased out of that bottom turn-in by the rest of Turmoil Syndicate. Commander KJK trying to turn in, but only has five measly gems. Hurrywind is going to have to play a little bit scared now because losing what is now 34 gems out of his pockets could be a huge waste for his team.
And Turmoil Syndicate are going to push in a little bit here and take out the remaining towers in bottom, opening up the possibility of going toward that fort at some point. Hurrywind actually left lane to go up and try to get a turn-in up top, and they looks like they might be able to do so, which is going to be really nice. At least he can get a few of those gems off, although they've already got so many close to turn-in, he's still going to have 28 on his person.
Right, which is more than you want to be carrying around. Although Tassadar, with the amount of escapability and shield that he has, is not a bad candidate for being someone holding on to gems. So they are going to go ahead and push with these web weavers. It looks like they're all converging on the mid lane, so they may be devoting all their energy to protecting that one web weaver in the mid lane.
Yeah, they've got to be a little bit careful. Their opponents are almost level 10. They've almost picked up those heroic abilities, and there they're going to grab them. And instantly we see the disbursement right away by Soul and the Shiners. They're just going to try to get some towers of their own where they can, try to catch back up and experience a little bit. But Soul Shiner on the bottom having to deal with the Gargantuan. It might be up top where they end up getting the towers, as they've got both Tassadar and Zagara up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the disbursement was probably a really good idea on their behalf. They don't really want to get into a team fight until just this moment when they grab their heroic abilities and instead focus on pushing these lanes out. Although the lanes are small, the push in those lanes is very important on this map, and so that can even be considered a gain.
Looks like we may have a possible engagement happening up here. Devouring Maw is going to go down and catch two of the members of Turmoil Syndicate. They're immediately going to try to go after Coda, who will be able to get away. Raynor may not be so lucky, did get healed back up momentarily, but will go down. Vala also going to go down, though, and Jim's littering the battlefield as Jaina also gets taken out. So far, Soul and the Shiners walking away with a 2-1 here in their favor.
Yeah, and that's got to be a good feeling. They really want to make sure that this game they do not end the team fights like they did in the last game. We see Pursuit, though, from Turmoil Syndicate looking to get a kill on F. Diddy. They are going to web wrap that poor little Zagara, and she's going to run the opposite way. She's going to actually be fine.
You know, so many of these team members have a lot of gems, and you can tell that they're playing a little bit less, or a little more passively because of that. Like Tantro threw the web blast down, was able to start throwing some stuns down, but then thought better of it, saying, I've got 23 gems, actually. This is maybe not the best time for me to be aggressive, and backed off.
Yeah. We actually just saw Turmoil Syndicate offload quite a few. They've now got 30 gems turned in. They're going to get another 16 from Trut. That means they're only, they're only 9 away from another set of web weavers, while their opponents, Soul and the Shiners, are significantly further away than that. However, Tassadar, Hurrywind again, holding 35 gems.
That is so many, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to offload those. They were trying to get the bruisers so that their opponents would have to deal with the bruisers and they could maybe go in and try to sneak a turn in, but their opponents were like, well, just go turn in ourselves, and then you can't do that. And so now, although we've got the bruisers in the mid, Soul and the Shiners are going to have to deal with another set of web weavers pushing in toward their structures.
And it looks like they're choosing to deal with that in the mid lane. And that means that the top and bottom lanes will be relatively unattended for the time being. I think the bottom lane is going to be the most in danger from that.
A stun goes down on Real Beef, who is going to Ghost Wolf right out of their commander, KJK, stuck in a zombie wall, but that's okay because he's murdered. He could have dwarf tossed it out, but instead he's just going to defend. They've almost taken out these mid web weavers. We're going to see Tassadar rotating up to try to deal with the top ones. Vala is moving down similarly to go toward bot, where the fort is getting rather low, so that might be an issue. They might lose this here, giving more experience to Turmoil.
Turmoil at large is going to go ahead and assist that top web weaver in taking down that fort. It will go down with almost no problem. They're going to grab that tower as well, and there's not much Commander KJK and Hurrywind can do about it, especially with Hurrywind holding those 35 gems we mentioned. That fort will go down, and it looks like the tower will not be far behind.
You know, I almost thought that with that reinforced structure pickup at level 4 from Tassadar, they were going to try to go for a mule, and I bet they would be really happy to have a mule right now, as that bottom fort is so unbelievably low. And I think it looks tantalizing to try it. He's trying to push in this lane a little bit, but meanwhile, we could have an engagement, as once again, Soul and the Shiners really, really, really want to turn in here.
Absolutely. Hurrywind actually going into Archon mode is going to try to do damage and protect himself. We do see Zagara heading out of the action as F. Diddy does get very low as well, but they really are not willing to give up on this, and they will pay dearly for it. Tassadar does fall, and with it, many, many gems are left on the battlefield. Starkey picked up some and does have 21. He's going to be pursued by Tantro and Coda. Will be, no, not taken down yet, but that is short-lived. He will fall as well. Soulshiner is going to look to grab those gems that he left on the battlefield, but it's just a squishy little Vala. Will she be able to defend? She will, but she did not pick up the gems.
That is huge. They're down to 44, so they still have quite a few, but they lost a ton of gems there. And if there's one thing that teams dislike on this battleground, it's getting to the later game and not having enough gems. It becomes so difficult, and you can often, like, the game can stall out if you don't have enough gems to carry you into that late game and continue getting turn-ins. Unfortunately, they started that fight and they weren't quite 13. Their opponents had level 13 talents, but they also didn't want to allow the turn-in. But Turmoil really didn't have enough for a turn-in, so I would have liked to see them maybe play a little bit more passively until they could get caught back up and then go for a fight around that turn-in.
That makes a lot of sense. F. Diddy now holding 34 gems trying to turn in, but Oddish, Trut, and Real Beef know what's happening. They're going to try to make sure that does not happen. F. Diddy now becoming the courier for those gems, and that's difficult because what you want F. Diddy doing is using, spreading more creep as it has been taken down and using her ability to push. So she's kind of put in pause mode as the rest of the team tries to protect her because they know how badly they need those gems to be turned in.
Yeah, once again, she's going to try to turn in, but Oddish sees this, and now they see Oddish because of the Oracle from Hurrywind, so they're going to try to zone as long as possible. FDD does get the turn in. Now they just need a few more. It looks like 12, I think. No, 14. It doesn't matter. They got it, so now they've got Web Weavers. Wait, no, they don't! Wait, what happened? They wanted to get the turn in, but somehow Turmoil got it. They must have been turning in bot. Ah, that's hugely infuriating for Soul. Oh, no.
Oh, so sad. All right, so we will see Web Weavers, and we will see them far forward. Look at where these waves are in the top and bottom lane. They're right up against those walls. Up in the top lane, we already have that fort completely destroyed, so they're going to be pushing through to that second wall. Down in the bottom, the fort only has a smidgen of health, so it will very, very likely go down, even with Soulshiner there to defend.
Yeah, I think we could possibly even see the mid fort go down too, as it's going to walk right up to the fort, and there are bruisers along with it. So a really great pickup here by Turmoil, as they're going to probably walk away with 2 forts here, and definitely level 16 on top of it.
Oh my goodness, such devastation happening. There's so much help coming from map objectives, coming from mercenaries and heroic abilities here in the middle from Turmoil Syndicate. They burn through that fort and tower, and they're going to start on the wall and turrets. Meanwhile, the other Web Weavers and lanes have gone down, but we do see that there's nothing to keep the minion wave from pushing in the bottom lane. So while all of this action is happening in the mid, there's also pushing going on in top and bottom.
I'm looking at hero damage here, and Rainer's actually doing a ton of damage, 32,000 hero damage. The Strape's going to come in, also deal a lot of damage. Coda getting very, very low as is Soulshiner, but it will be Vala who goes down, a great shield, and then Divine Shield going down on Vala. So even though they're down a talent tier, they were able to pick up a Jaina takedown there, and that's going to be very, very nice for Soul and the Shiners.
Yeah, we did see a web wrap go down on Commander KJK, and as he is really the tough forward tank and everyone was trying to stay behind him, there wasn't much more they could do to pursue. Soul and the Shiners are going to fall back and kind of do some damage control in terms of their lanes. We mentioned how important lane push is in this game. It's certainly in favor of Turmoil Syndicate right now. That's going to allow them to go down and grab that siege camp and just add to the pressure.
A lot of times we see Jaina pick up Numbing Blast at 16 so that they have a little bit more lockdown, but instead this one has chosen to pick up Northern Exposure. So they're going to be, her Cone of Cold is going to be causing enemies to become vulnerable, and that on top of the strong damage that Raynor will be doing with this auto attack heavy focused build, and then of course the spider build from Nazebo, they're going to be putting out a lot more damage as they pick that up. But Soul and the Shiners have also picked up their 16 talents, so now we should see them feeling more comfortable about getting back out on the map. They really want to get this turn in here, and I think they've got it. Oh, the Water Elemental Gargantuan combo just stops Commander KJK from turning in. So frustrating. He may lose those gems as well. He's getting so low. He's going to get dropped down. Starkey is up there, but not going to be able to pick up those gems either. And look, the big gem just sitting there wanting to be picked up will not be be so, though.
That burrow charge from Tantro really being a turning point in that engagement. It does end up putting him too far forward, and he does get taken out. So Turmoil Syndicate actually is going to have to turn around here to some extent. Nope, they're still feeling like being aggressive, and it pays off. They go ahead and take down Tassadar as well, and Starkey will be close behind.
That Raynor-Jaina combo is doing so much damage, and even though Oddish is low in health, remember he still has that adrenaline rush, and you see it, he just got healed up. And now he's already nearly back to full health, so that self-sustain is coming in so handy. FDD gonna try to go bottom this time and turn in, but they're probably gonna have web weavers, but it will be up against the boss that's getting taken now by Turmoil Syndicate.
Yes, they are in the throw shoebox, as I would like to think of it. But there's not much that anyone can do to prevent them from grabbing that boss. It will help them out in their quest. And I don't know. I mean, if you're level 16 going on 17, you're looking at your opponents who are Turmoil Syndicate. They're almost halfway through their level 18. You see your lanes pushed this far on this map. You have to start thinking about taking risks, because playing safely is not going to help you. It's just going to let the slow push allow Turmoil Syndicate to win like they did last game. So what kind of risks would you take if you were Soul and the Shiners right now, Gilly?
Well, they don't have a ton of gems. It's probably going to come down to denying a turn-in from Turmoil at this point. They've taken down the boss. They might want to try to distract their opponents, and maybe that top web weaver can push unopposed and maybe start taking down the 4 up there. But already we're seeing the rotation from Turmoil going straight up to deal with it. So we could maybe see them try to push in. They've still got towers to try to take down in the mid and bottom, so only the top 4 is even exposed. That's so difficult. I think what they're going to do is just going to try to get into an engagement. Devouring Maw will go down. So Strafe immediately comes in and onto a stunned Coda, who does get Ancestral healed up. So now Starkey getting very low. Vala also taken out. And this is looking rough once again for Soul and the Shiners.
Yeah, the thing is that if they had done a little bit more damage earlier on in the game to these lanes and maybe taken out some forts and given them a little bit more of a path, maybe something like a surprise backdoor or something of some kind that could be a risky play that might pay off in a big way could be an option for Soul and the Shiners. But because they've been so aptly pushed back in their lanes for most of this game, very similar to what we saw in the last game, there are not a lot of opportunities for them to do anything but try to defend.
Yeah, right? I mean, when it comes to taking out structures at this point, you want to be looking at keeps. We're 20 minutes into the game. You want to be looking at keeps. They're looking at forts. They're looking at towers in front of the forts, which is so infuriating. And now their opponents have Storm Tier talents. They also have Web Weavers once again pushing against them, and all of the lanes are pushed for Turmoil Syndicate. Zagara is down. She won't be able to help in the defense of these either.
I mean, a great engagement from Soul and the Shiners could kind of turn the tides, but without Zagara, like you said, they are definitely one person down, and that's not going to be a help to them. And the thing is, Turmoil Syndicate knows that they're not really interested in putting themselves in any risky situations. They're just going to push where they already have advantages, and right now that's in the top lane. They're going to send actually all 5 members with that Web Weaver up there to the top lane to finish off that wall and look to grab a keep there.
So Hurriwan does have that reinforced structure shield, which does help stave off some of the damage on the structures, but their water elemental is going to come in. There's stuns on Vala. Commander KJK has to dwarf toss out. He took so much damage, and so shield can only do so much on this keep before it's going to go down. He's going to go into Archon mode, put a Web Blast down on Murid, and on top of that, Zagara is up, but the keep is down.
Yeah, and that means a lot more trouble coming up very soon here in the top lane, but we'll see if everyone lives to see it. Looks like Oddish will fall. He's not going to be doing much more damage anytime soon. But we do see that the rest of Turmoil Syndicate decides that without one of their team members, they're not willing to fight, and they don't have to. They're going to retreat, look for advantages elsewhere on the map. They do have some gems to their persons, but not a whole lot. And they can't turn them in for a little while yet anyway.
Anna, they distracted from bot so long that the bot Web Weaver by itself just took out the keep.
Oh my gosh!
So with that, 2 keeps are down on the side of Soul and the Shiners. Like I mentioned before, you want keeps down at this point, not forts. So what Soul and the Shiners can possibly do with this 30-second power play where Raynor is down, I'm not really sure. They're not really sure either. They are waffling in this little corridor. It looks like they're going to go for bruisers, but I would have liked to see them maybe try to push. It would have been tough.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been... Either way, they're looking for what advantages are available to them. It's definitely a riskier one to go ahead and push because they could potentially lose members of their own team, even 4v5, considering the level disparity that they're at right now. Grabbing the bruises is a safe play, but probably not enough to really put them back in this game.
Yeah, and meanwhile, on the bottom, Rhaegar just picked up the bottom giants, too, so the window that they have is quickly closing. They're about to get 20, which will help a lot, but Raynor is up, so they've got to be careful. Actually, they may not get the chance to get 20, as we're going to have another engagement in mid, and not everybody is here. Where is Vala? She's not here for this fight. F. Diddy's going to get stunned and then stunned again. Uther is going to go down. F. Diddy got a great plasma shield from Hurrywind, but at this point, Uther, did he pick up redemption? He needs to get redemption if he wants to come back up. He didn't pick it up. He did pick it up, so I think he should be good. Yep, he's going to come back in just in time.
Wow. That shield is going to protect Commander KJK from being taken down. A great Devouring Maw is going to take many members of Turmoil Syndicate out of the action. 4 of them, in fact, for just a moment. But not enough damage done to them to really deter them from continuing to push, and now they are looking at core.
Yeah, Vala is down for 60 seconds. She got taken out by the Raynor's Raiders, which was a great move by Raynor there to be able to pick up that takedown. It looks like Archon is going to be dropped to try to push the members of Turmoil off of the core. And for the moment, they're going to do so. They don't really want to take that splash damage. They're going to let Archon go away. They may even be content to leave here. They do have a good push against them in mid that has finally started working on the fort a little bit, so that at least helps.
Those bruisers we were talking about, they actually did some work.
Yeah, it was a good distraction at least to lose Vala in that respect for Soul, but they're still way on the back foot.
Yeah, the boss is up right now, but I don't know that Soul and the Shiners could afford to put themselves in a throw pit like that one, so it looks instead like Turmoil Syndicate is going to check it out. Whether or not they're going to go for the boss, they certainly know the action might convene around it.
Yeah, I mean, Soul cannot let them get this, so it looks like they've drawn out the water elemental. If they can just survive until it goes away, that would be a huge time for them to engage, as there would be one less heroic ability on the side of Turmoil to do damage. But already Soul Shiner taking a ton of damage, and once again on the back foot being pushed back by Turmoil Syndicate.
Absolutely. Commander KJK, unfortunately, is just a big, slow dwarf and is going to be taken down by that burrow charge, which has been really a problem for him this entire game. Looks like Soul Shiner is taking a moment to think about his life there behind the protective wall up the steps. And we do have 4 members of Soul and the Shiners that are doing a good amount to push things back in terms of Turmoil Syndicate, but there are so many things. There's catapults, there's a wave, there's an entire team using their heroic abilities. Will they be able to push them off? They will. I'm surprised. That was a great play by Soul and the Shiners.
Yeah, they were really able to keep very low members just barely alive constantly, both with the Divine Shield on that strafe and then also keeping Zagora alive too. She can throw out damage. But they did lose Muradin, and he's still down for 20 seconds, and this is going to be a boss for Turmoil Syndicate. And we've seen the power of a boss and 5 members of a team on the core before. It's so difficult. Soul and the Shiners realize it. They are on their way to the boss now, but it will be too late.
And of course, now they also have to maintain attention on that boss because they cannot let it continue toward their core. That would be devastating. So they're going to have to deal with that, and we will see. It looks like Turmoil Syndicate is going to accompany the boss. So they could use it to split push. They could go somewhere else and kind of divide their opponent's attention. It looks like they're feeling confident enough that they're just going to push alongside it.
Yeah, they really want to try to end the game right here and move on to the next round of the bracket. The boss is moving in. It's 25 minutes in. Once again, it's going to do a lot of damage to the core, and all the members are here. Starkey getting stunned by that impale is going to try to move back. Might not be enough. Did drop the Divine Shield on Soul Shiner so he could strafe with ease, but Uther will drop. And now the boss, still very healthy, has started putting real damage on the core. And it looks like F. Diddy, getting very low from that water elemental, will be able to save her life, but not the core. And it will be Turmoil Syndicate winning the series.
Wow, you know, we've mentioned this in the last game, and we were talking about it in ourselves. It's awesome to see teams that are a little bit fresh-faced in terms of teams that we haven't seen so experienced in the scene be patient and give an impression of calm in their play. And I think we saw that from Turmoil Syndicate, where there were plenty of times that their coordination, their communication, their decisions about cost versus benefit really did help them stay very dominant in these games. So well played to both teams, but especially to our victor 2-0 Turmoil Syndicate.
Anna Raynor did 97k hero damage.
Oh my gosh, okay, I'm looking at the stats right now. That's awesome. So yeah, guys, I mean, this is a really cool thing to look at too as you learn the heroes pro scene. A lot of times in the past we've seen very popular heroes that are almost always picked, but the goal that Blizzard has always told us is that they want to have a huge variety of heroes available to be picked and shown in the pro scene. So seeing Nazeebo and Raynor in this match, and then of course Nazeebo as well in the past match, reminds us that we will see faces that may be new in this PPP, as you said, Gilly.
Yeah, post-patch period has activated, and Turmoil Syndicate showing that they understand the patch and, of course, all of these battlegrounds so far. So, great job by them. They'll be moving on next in the bracket. We're going to take a quick break, guys, and when we come back, we will have another best of 3, so stay tuned.